Hello friends, it's Lisa and welcome to my bullet journal setup for the month of April. So this month I decided to go with this very springy and pastel kind of scrapbook layered look, but I still wanted to have some elements that were hand drawn because I do like to draw a lot in my bullet journal setup. So I decided to kind of go with a very spring Easter theme. And as you can see, I'm drawing out some bunnies right now. I first started by sketching out some different bunnies in different little positions and them sitting in different ways. And then I outlined them with my Micron pens and then colored them in with some of the Tombow pens as well, and all of the supplies and specific colors and everything that I use will be in the description. So I thought this would be a fun way to kind of make it an Easter-ish theme without it being super over the top and it's just very subtle, very just springy colors with some little bunnies that I drew, and I just thought that they were very cute, and I kind of used them as almost stickers throughout the spreads. Because I was already doing that layered scrapbook style of journaling, I figured I could just use these little bunnies to add to the layers, and they kind of act as stickers, but they're things that I hand drew, so it kind of has that hand-drawn look as well. So along with the bunnies, I'm kind of using a bunch of different types of paper to kind of layer onto this theme. I have some just solid colors, some spring colors, as well as some plaid, and some grid kind of paper. I really just wanted to keep it pretty neutral, but with that pop of greeny blue, I think that kind of added to the spring color palette. So yeah, this was a pretty easy theme to do because it's just layering up a bunch of different papers and stickers and washi tapes and just kind of, I feel like more is better in this situation. I feel like the more you layer, the more you add, the better it looks. Obviously there could be a point where it gets to be too much, but I feel like with this style of bullet journaling, the kind of scrapbook looking stuff, the more you add, the better it looks. So definitely a very simple and easy theme to do, which is exactly what I needed this month. I was feeling so slumpy in the month of March and I had no idea what I wanted to do in my bullet journal this month. I was just feeling very not super creative, and it was just really hard for me to come up with something. So I feel like this is kind of a go-to way to make a theme look good even if you're not feeling super creative. But that is going to be it for the title page for this month. So now we're moving on to the calendar spread, and as always, I'm just doing this kind of grade look for the actual calendar. And for just the rest of the calendar, I do go in and obviously number the days of the month, and I also add a drop shadow to the right side and the bottom just to add a little bit of something else to the spread. But other than that, kind of around the actual calendar, I just go in the corners and add, the more layered paper look, some washi tape, some stickers, all of that. And it was helpful, I think, having the bunnies done, having them all drawn out and colored in before going into doing and setting up the actual spreads, because I was able to just kind of glue them in where they fit. And it was just nice to have everything just ready to go. It definitely, like I was saying, a very easy theme to do, which is what I needed. Even though this is definitely a more simple theme just because you're gluing things in and figuring out where to place things, I am very indecisive when it comes to this type of stuff. It takes me forever to figure out where I want to put washi tape or where I want to put the bunnies, or if I'm using stickers in something, it takes me forever to figure out where I want to put them. So you'll see me throughout this video kind of struggle and rearrange things a bunch. I even edited out some because we didn't need to see me do that for a half hour. So yeah, I can definitely be indecisive with these kinds of themes and this kind of layered look, but I do like the way everything turned out, and I think in the end it's really there's really no bad place to put things. Like I said, more is more. The more you add, the better it'll look. But while I finish up setting up the calendar page, definitely let me know down below any fun plans or anything you're looking forward to in the month of April. I don't think I have a whole lot going on. I am excited to participate in the magical readathon that's happening all of April, but really other than that, I think it's going to be a pretty chill month. But I would love to know if you have anything that you're excited about, anything you're looking forward to. So now we're moving on to my next spread, which is going to be my habit tracker spread. And what was really, really helpful was I was using this paper that actually was it was a part of a calendar that I had last year, and I just saved all the papers because I figured I could use it in my journals, and it came in handy because it has this grid pattern on it, and I was able to kind of use that grid as the calendar, if that makes sense. So first I put down the greenish blue, I think it's more green paper. It looks definitely more green on camera. But I put that down first to make this white grid paper pop a little bit more. But I had 6 habits that I wanted to track this month, so I just cut out 6 squares from that grid paper and basically just made it so I had enough columns and enough rows for the calendar. It kind of looks like a little calendar. Normally I would hand draw this kind of thing, but it was nice to be able to use that grid paper and just paste it in. Definitely saved me some time. So the boxes on that grid paper will correlate with the day of the month, and I'll just fill it out like the way that the calendar looks. I feel like I'm over explaining this. I think you all know what I'm trying to say with this grid paper and it being a little calendar for each habit. I think you understand, but basically I will just fill that in when I do that habit on that day. But then I did this sort of layered look up at the top with the title for the page. And for the actual habits and labels for the habits I want to track, I just wrote them out on a piece of paper and glued them over the little calendar that I'm going to fill out when I do that habit. So I really like the way that this page looked out. I think that the layered look on this page just really worked well. And on the right side of this page is where I'm going to have my playlist page. So at the end of the month, I'm just going to write down all of the songs, all of the albums that I was listening to in the month of April. It's really nice to have that written down someplace. I have like Spotify playlists of every song that I add, throughout my playlist throughout the year, but it's really nice to have it written down and be able to like see when looking through my journals what songs and what albums I was listening to a lot in certain months. And for the header for this page where I write playlist, I decided to put it at the bottom. Half because I just don't normally do that. I normally put the headers for each of the spreads and like label them all like at the top of the page. So I thought it would be fun to do something a little bit different there, but I also think it offsets the habit tracker header up at the top. I think it also like separates the little bunny doodles a little bit more. It just made more sense, I think, to put it at the bottom, and I just like the way that it looks. It's a little bit different. And then I just add a box around the page, kind of similar to how I drew the lines on the actual calendar for the calendar spread, just to kind of bring this page together, make it a little bit more complete. But that is it for my habit tracker and playlist spreads. And now we're moving on to my first weekly spread. So I'm just drawing out 6 different boxes, 5 for the days of the week and then 1 for the weekend. And the actual like boxes and lines I was drawing for the boxes for this weekly spread kind of match up with how I drew the box on the playlist page as well as the calendar. I thought that just kind of added to like the sketched out look kind of vibe, like the bunnies that I drew. I didn't draw perfect lines for the outline. I kind of had it look sketched out. So that's what I wanted to do with the boxes as well. And then for the labels for the boxes, so I know which day of the week it is, I once again wrote it out on this like neutral paper just to rip out, add to that layered look. I wanted, again, the weekly spreads to be a little bit more simple, just so I had plenty of space to write down what I actually need to write down on these spreads. So after pasting in the days of the week onto the spread, I add a drop shadow again to the boxes just to add a little bit of something. And again, I thought it would be cool to take advantage of the grid paper that I had. Sometimes when I do weekly spreads, I will add a little calendar of the month just so that when I'm filling out my weekly spreads, I can very quickly reference the month and see what it looks like. And so I decided, because I needed all of the space on these boxes, to write out the kind of calendar for the month on that grid spacing, which was very easy again, and then just paste it in with some washi tape, and then I can kind of move it around the spreads when I need to. But I just thought that that'd be a cool way to use the stationery I'd been using while also being functional. But then that is it for my weekly spreads as well. But that is it for my April spreads, so here's a flip through of how they all turned out. For someone who is feeling pretty slumpy and not super creative, I am happy with how these spreads turned out. I love the spring colors, and the bunnies do make me quite happy. I think they're very cute, so I'm pretty happy with this. Definitely let me know what you chose to do in your bullet journal for the month of April. I'd love to know what you decided to go with, but that is going to be it for my April bullet journal setup, so thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.